So we need to develop apps that can help deter police activity when a black person gets pulled over by a suspected race soldier. Something like a live stream app, things of that nature, where when someone gets pulled over, someone is alerted on their phone, they can start sharing and live streaming immediately, just like the woman that did out in Minnesota. She used Facebook for that. So we can do these things. Like I said, these things can happen a lot quicker than other things, but building a parallel economy in comparison to the dominant white society is crucial. I am back, family. Chauncey, aka Ukarema, great man of God media. You already know, GMOGMedia Spotlight. I'm just gonna get right into it, family. It's been a while. I've been out. Personally, I've been out sick. I had a stomach bug, and then my son got a stomach bug that I got. So I'm recovering. He's recovering. So I've been out making videos and handling personal situations, things of that nature. But I'm back, family, and it's a lot that I want to cover, a lot I want to talk about, and let's just get right into it, family. First and foremost, I want to address this, right? The last video that I uploaded, which was the Dr. Umar Johnson versus Tariq Nasheed. I took that video down. Why? Because first of all, this channel is not a gossip channel. It's not a instigation channel. It's none of that. What I try to do is I offer suggestions on how to replace this system that we live in, which is systematic racism, white supremacy, with the system of justice. So I did not want to have that video tied in with me trying to instigate something or tied in with gossip, things of that nature. So I took that video down. I did not want to have that perception of this, what this channel is about. So I took that video down. That's what that was about, family. So that's what I wanted to address with that video. So anyway, let's get right into the topic. All right. So this topic I want to talk about is, with all the things that's been happening for the last couple of weeks, all right, which I already addressed before. My last video, I talked about the shooting death, the legalized lynching of Alton Sterling. And then right after I uploaded that video, that's Philando Castile. Okay. And then another brother out in Texas who was lynched by race soldiers in Texas, which was Ava Braziel. Okay. This is going to keep happening in succession, until we replace this system of systematic racism, white supremacy, with the system of justice. This is what this channel is about, family. And if you are new, please subscribe. Once again, I'm Chauncey, aka Ukarema, great man of God media. I talk about issues that affect black people collectively as a group. All I do is offer my suggestions on how we can remedy the situation and ultimately replace this broken system, right? This broken system that we live in with the system of justice. And the compensatory definition of justice is guaranteeing that no person is mistreated. And number two, guaranteeing that the person who needs help the most gets the most constructive help. All right, so I want to talk about black people needing to be more proactive when it comes to situations that we're dealing with right now. All right, when people say, okay, we're under attack, we've been under attack. As long as we have been living in this system of systematic racism, we're always going to be under attack. We're always going to be targeted. We're always going to be purged. We're always going to be in the program of eugenics, controlling our population, right? This is what we're under right now, and it's going to continue to happen. So the reactions that black people have are so erratic. That's what's happening right now, you know, and it's a pattern too. It's like one of us gets gunned down by the race soldiers, right? This is what happens. We get gunned down by the race soldiers. We march, we pray, We ask for the police chief to step down. We ask for an investigation. We do a press conference, right? We probably do a fundraiser online or something like that, GoFundMe, right? Later down the line, the trial starts and this race soldier walks, right? Not prosecuted. So we need to change that narrative, family. And I'm going to offer these suggestions on how we can do that. It's going to take a systematic change to do that. These kind of things don't happen overnight. Some of these changes may be quicker than others, but these are my suggestions. So please watch this entire video to get what I'm talking about. All right. So the first thing is, all right, we need to build a parallel economy. What do I mean by that? You're watching me on the system right now called YouTube, owned by Google. Google, number one, is the most popular website in the world, followed by YouTube, the second most popular website in the world. All right. These companies are no more than 10 years old, and they have dominated the internet in terms of web trafficking. YouTube is the number one video sharing website in the world, and Google is the number one search engine in the world. I've said in my video before about addressing YouTubers or black YouTubers in the internet with their YouTube channels. I said that we need to build a parallel economy in comparison to the dominant white society in all 9 areas of activity. Okay, so in this situation that we're having right now, with all of the chaos that's happening with black people and the system that we live in, we have to understand that we can't depend on their resources for everything, because right now we depend on everything. We depend on their resources to look at news channels. We depend on their resources to go on the internet. We depend on their resources to access our phone, to check our email. We have to get off of that. We have to start building our own economy in comparison to them. Okay, so anything that they have, such as a YouTube, we need to parallel that with our own company that rivals a YouTube. We need to parallel that with our own company that rivals a Google search engine. Okay, we need to parallel that with our own communications company that rivals a AT&T, a T-Mobile, a Verizon, of things of that nature. If you want to go as small as application development, and I've always talked about that, IT is the number one thing that black people need to not only invest in, but start working on themselves and owning businesses in information technology. So we need to develop apps that can help deter police activity when a black person gets pulled over by a suspected race soldier. Something like a live stream app, things of that nature, where so someone gets pulled over, someone is alerted on their phone, they can start sharing and live streaming immediately, just like the woman that did out in Minnesota. She used Facebook for that. So we can do these things. Like I said, these things can happen a lot quicker than other things, but building a parallel economy in comparison to the dominant white society is crucial, because again, our black dollar, our so-called black dollar, circulates in our community only 6 hours. Okay, and it's not even a black community, it's just a bunch of black people living in a neighborhood. That's what it is. But our dollar circulates 6 hours. 6 hours compared to other communities. So that's why our economy is crucial. We need to build a parallel economy where we are not relying on their resources. All right, that's number one. Number two, local politicians. I've already stressed this enough in past videos. You need to get involved in local politics, municipal elections. Where I live, okay, in South Florida, municipal elections is coming up August 30th, okay? I'm gonna be voting, and I've already met the people who are running for mayor, the city councilman. I've already met these people, okay? I've already shaken their hands, things of that nature. And most of you guys who I've already said this before, you know, I'm involved in my community heavily, okay? I'm an HOA vice president in my community. I actually work with the police in my community. because we pay off-duty police officers to patrol where I live. Okay, so I work with police officers to ensure that our community is safe. So I'm definitely not against police at all. You have to work with them and understand that you need them to protect where you live. Okay, and you have to spot out who are the race soldiers and who are the ones that are genuine police officers that are trying to protect the lives of the citizens. Okay, so you have to understand that when it comes to politicians, especially in your local city or where you live, you have to be more hands-on in not only meeting politicians and city officials, things of that nature, but establishing a voting block, a group where a collective group of you guys can establish a voting block and have the power to elect an official based off your voting block. Okay, or another thing you can do, you can start a political action committee, a Super Pac. You can have one that is attached to a organization or an independent. Okay, these are things that are crucial that you need to do. Getting involved in local politics, and getting involved in municipal elections. That's it. That is extremely crucial that black people need to do. Now, there's a lot of you guys that are saying, okay, well, brother, I know guys that want to vote, but they can't vote because they got a criminal record, they got felonies, things of that nature. Well, depending on where you live, what your state is, because I live in Florida, right? And I'm going to read something to you about people who have criminal records in the state of Florida who want to vote. I'm going to read something real quick, okay? It says, on March 9, 2011, the Florida rules of executive clemency were toughened. Automatic restoration of civil rights and the ability to vote will no longer be granted for any offenses. All individuals convicted of any felony will now have to apply for executive clemency after 5 years waiting period. Individuals who are convicted or who have previously been convicted of certain felonies such as murder, assault, child abuse, drug trafficking, arson, etc. are subject to a 7-year waiting period and a clemency board hearing to determine whether or not the ability to vote will be restored. Okay, so it varies by state. So check where you live at as far as your state and see if, you know, whether you can still vote, whether you have to wait a certain period of time. But there are ways around that. If you have a criminal record, you can still go out and vote. You can still go out, still get involved with your local city officials, local politics, and get involved with your municipal elections. Okay, that is crucial. That is key. All right. And going back to what I was talking about in terms of the parallel economy, a lot of people are saying, you know, well, we need to boycott. We need to go ahead and boycott XYZ, that kind of thing. Family, boycotting will not work. Why? Because we don't have an economy. Okay, we have so-called $1.1 trillion of spending power, but we don't own or control anything. They're saying by the year 2017 that our spending power is going to be from $1.1 trillion to $1.3 trillion, but we still don't own or control anything. We are a powerless group of people collectively. And so what happens is when you have situations where black men, women, and children are gunned down by race soldiers, you react the way you react right now. Again, with these patterns, right? Where you are marching, praying, asking for someone to be fired, etc., etc. And you have an isolated incident where someone was in the military, right? And all of a sudden became pro-black and was enraged by what he saw with these killings of Philando Castile and Alton Sterling, and shot and killed police officers. And rest in peace to the families and the victims of those police officers out in Dallas. My heart goes out to those families. No one deserves to be shot and killed based off of that. But the thing is, that is a irrational and a reactionary situation that happened, and it was tragic because that's something that is very, very unlikely for someone to do. It's a very rare thing for a black man to go ahead and start killing cops out of rage. It's very rare. And we already saw press conferences where people just had to apologize, things of that nature, for the killings of those police officers by the person, Micah Johnson, who assassinated those police officers and ambushed them out in that Black Lives Matter rally in Dallas, Texas. All right, and I'm gonna address in another video the issue with Black Lives Matter and all these groups that are being tied together as hate and terrorist groups, things of that nature. But anyhow, family, it's key that we do not act so reactionary to situations. We need to strategically plan and prepare to make systematic changes to change our circumstances. Okay, we have to do that. Again, we need to be more involved with municipal elections. Okay, city officials, start going to meetings every week. Okay, start participating in your local city elected official events, whether it be a fundraiser, whatever the case may be. If they're going to a church, go ahead and do that. Start doing that. Another thing I want to bring up also, family, to build a parallel economy, we have to start investing in ourselves. Okay, again, not only we're building black-owned businesses, but we got to support black-owned businesses as well. As you know, I just started a series on my channel called Buy Black. So I'm going to be featuring independent black-owned business on my channel to help promote them, and I'm doing it again this week and every month. Okay, so you also have to be involved with banking, black-owned banking. You have a lot of independent black-owned banks that you want to invest your money in. I just opened up an account with a black-owned bank not too long ago, One United. Okay, it's actually based out of Miami, Florida. So look at black-owned banks and invest as little as $100 to open up a checking account, savings account, whatever the case may be, and put your dollars in black-owned enterprises, black-owned banks, so that we can actually grow our wealth and be stronger collectively as a group. Because right now, as you know, we are slaughtered. We are slaughtered, and we are under the eugenics program right now, where we are just being hunted down by the numbers. But it's always been like that, but except that we're on a huge microscope right now because of all the recent killings of that happened recently with Philando Castile, Ava Braziel, Alton Sterling. Okay, so we just have to be more strategic, be more proactive on what we're trying to do, and not be so reactionary with these situations, because these reactionary situations are shortcoming, and they're not long-term solutions. Okay, so my suggestions are down in the description, family. You have to get more involved in your local politicians, your municipal elections. Okay, you have to invest in yourself, building a parallel economy. Okay, you have to do all those things to start making systematic changes, okay, of what you're trying to do. All right, family, so that's what I wanted to talk about. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate all the new subscribers. All right, family, Chauncey, aka Ukarema, Great Man of God Media, signing out.